All right, let's welcome in our next guest. Honored to have him on with us. Does a great job with the Phillies. He's a staple down at Citizens Bank Park forever. He's up in New York right now. Gregg Murphy. What do you say, Murph? How are you, buddy?
Well, thanks for having me, guys. It's good to be on with both of you.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
obviously tonight isn't. I guess Scott Fransky said they were going to toast when they make the playoffs, kind of party a little bit when they win the division. Hopefully, that's now Saturday night for the guys. But I kind of feel for Rob Thompson in a way with this fifth starter in the rotation spot right now. There's really just no answer for this team right now.
Well, there hasn't been an answer for a couple of weeks. It's been I know it's been frustrating for sure for the team. And look, it's frustrating for the guys that go out there on the mound and don't perform because Taijuan Walker's a guy that's used to performing at a high level. He certainly has not done that this year, and I know it's been frustrating for him. But when you stop to think about it, the team still has the best record in all of baseball, even with their warts. So, every team has warts. That certainly is a Phillies issue right now. Hopefully they can get that taken care of. The good news is you don't have to worry about that in the postseason, but you do need to get to the postseason, and you need to get there, and you're hoping to get that one of those top two seeds. So that's where they are right now.
Yeah, and Greg, listen, as you talk about the worries of the postseason, everybody right now has all the PTSD, the traumas, the triggers, and things that are making them nervous about this season and what the playoffs are going to bring. Now, one of the things that we've talked about is you have a night like Wednesday night. Aaron Nola pitches great, no run support. You have a night like last night. Taijuan Walker does not pitch well, and you do have 6 runs you score. What do you feel like is the biggest thing that you're looking for and that you think – for people that are nervous of why this group can have the consistency? It's not a flip of the switch, but it does feel like we're getting every game. It's kind of disjointed, just disconnected at times of offense, starting pitching, bullpen, all coming together. Regular season's winding down. What do you think it's going to really take for that next turn of this team having everything consistently coming together?
The best teams figure out a way to win when you only score 2 runs, right? And the worst teams figure out a way, or the best teams figure out a way to win when you give up 6 runs. And I think the Phillies have done a good job with that this year. They have to find some consistency as they head into the postseason. But I think the experience that they've gotten over the last 2 years is a ton of talent on this team. I think when you put all of that together, this team is still set up to win it all. They certainly are. They certainly are as good as anybody in baseball. I think we've seen that. So they're going to lock it in. They're going to figure it out. You get Christopher Sanchez out there on the mound tonight. That's a good thing. So hopefully it starts tonight. Clinch the postseason tonight, get the division win tomorrow, and move on.
So, Murph, Christopher Sanchez has been fascinating. I mean, I think in terms of F4 this year, he's only behind like the 2 Cy Young eventual winners, and he's up there amongst the elites in baseball. His home and road splits are what they are. He's had some good road starts. What do you expect to see out of Christopher Sanchez tonight? He was great on the last homestand, obviously up in the Big Apple tonight. Do you think that's something that maybe is behind him, the road worries, or do you have complete confidence with him on the road now?
I have complete confidence in him for sure, Jamie. I mean, this is a guy that has just really taken it to a next level this year, right? And he's well beyond his innings high of his career high in innings, and he continues to be strong. His velocity is still there. He's a very confident young man. So yeah, I think the road and home splits are a little odd, right? When you go back and you look at them, but it's not for a lack of confidence. I think he's going to go out there. Look, this Mets lineup is a good lineup, and they're swinging the bats really well. So he's going to have to pitch a good game. He's going to give up some runs. That's the way it works. He's going to give up some, but it's about managing and limiting that big inning. And if he can do that, I expect success tonight from Christopher Sanchez.
Yeah, well, on the other side, someone that we've been a little bit nervous about in terms of pitching is Ranger Suarez. As we know, starting pitching has been the backbone of this team. As much as we can talk about the offense and their consistency or sometimes inconsistencies, it's been the starting pitching from weekend number 1. But Ranger Suarez, unfortunately, hasn't been the same. It's the IL stint. It's in general just the drop from that superhuman start he had to coming back to earth a little bit, and has a little bit around a 6 ERA in his last 9 starts around that IL stint. For Ranger Suarez this weekend, as he takes the mound, eyes are on him. What do you think of? He's got 2 more starts now, I believe it is, before the playoffs. Do you have faith that he can be a 5-6 inning pitcher that's giving you a strong outing, or do you feel like Ranger Suarez is going to be kind of struggling a bit once we get to the postseason?
Yeah, no, I'm not overly concerned about Ranger. I mean, I think you said it perfectly, Renee. I mean, he did have that superhuman start, right? And so it's really hard for 162 to kind of keep up that particular level. And then he did get injured. He took a step back, and now he's kind of working himself back. So I think he's had 4 starts since the injury, since coming back from the injury. Rob Thompson had said when he came back from injury, it would probably take about 3 starts before we started to see the Ranger Suarez that we can expect. So he's one more than that. He was a little bit better in his last start than he had been in the previous 3. So I would expect he'll be a little bit better tomorrow night. And as you said, he's got one more after that. So hopefully, he's getting to that point where he's peaking right as the postseason starts. Again, another very confident guy. He believes in himself. And that's a big part of pitching at the big league level, is believing you can do it. So I would not be overly concerned about Ranger. I think he's going to be just fine. I really do.
So, Murph, when you look at last year's postseason team and, Craig Kimbrell and Orion Kerkering had, 8 innings pitched by the end of the year, was getting counted on in big spots. Yeah. Compared to what they're rolling out this year in the bullpen, you have to feel great about the Phillies' late inning opportunities come postseason time, because you've been around the team forever. Yeah. I mean, this bullpen is about as talented as a bullpen as I can recall watching in a Phillies uniform. From Jeff Hoffman to Orion to Strom to Estevez, even Jose when he's on. And Jose Ruiz has emerged as a guy you have some confidence in. Where does this rank for you kind of in just talent as far as a bullpen goes?
Oh, this is easily the best bullpen that since I've been with the team. And I joined the team in 2012 when everything started to go like that. But now the things are going back up like that. Yeah, I mean, this bullpen is outstanding. And, you just mentioned the names, so I don't need to mention them again. But you're talking about guys left and right. I mean, Matt Strom is another guy. Tanner Banks has been really good since he's joined the bullpen. These are guys that can pitch in high leverage situations, which is basically any inning in the postseason. And you have a lot of confidence in them. They're not going to be perfect. Nobody's going to be perfect, and neither are the bullpens from everywhere else. We saw Edwin Diaz kind of fall apart in Philadelphia last week, right? But this bullpen is set up to have success. And if you have your starting, 4 in the postseason going 5, 6, 7 innings, which we expect Zach Wheeler to do every time out. We've seen Christopher Sanchez do it a lot. We've seen Aaron Nola do it a lot. If you have that, then you're just going to have these guys and deploy them in different pockets in the lineup and put, kind of set them up for success. I think it's a real strength of this team. I think it's probably the biggest feather in Dave Dombrowski's cap, what he's been able to do in terms of building this bullpen. Championship teams have great bullpens, and this Phillies bullpen is great. And now they have an opportunity to go out there and prove it in the postseason.
Murph, do you attribute a lot of this to their pitcher development? Because when you look at a Jose and Orion coming and having the high rise that he did, Jeff Hoffman resurrecting his career here, obviously the guys have talent, right? They didn't become major leaguers without it. But it almost feels like the Phillies, another real feather in the organization's cap is the ability to develop and help sustain the development of a lot of these guys.
Yeah, I think that's a fair statement, Jamie. You can go across the board down in the minor league systems, and you can find great success stories, and you can find guys that haven't lived up to the potential that we thought they were going to have, right? And that might change. A guy might be a late bloomer, and a Griff McGarry might, burst onto the scene next year and start to pitch well. But then you turn around and you look at guys like Jeff Hoffman, whose career was kind of stagnant before he joined the Phillies organization. Orion Kerkering, who has shot through the minor league system and now is having great success at the big league level. And I do think that you have to give Caleb Cotham, you have to give Brian Kaplan, the assistant pitching coach here, a lot of credit for the way that they've kind of changed the philosophy in the minor leagues to get these guys ready for the big leagues. And they're making these guys go pitch innings. They're making them have high leverage situations. They're making them go back to back in the minor leagues, things that were taboo for 10 years in the big leagues. And that Phillies organization is doing that. And I think they're reaping the benefits now. So, yeah, I think that's a fair statement. I think they're doing a great job down there.
Well, Murph, you've been around the team to see a lot of the changes over the years, and heading into their 3rd straight postseason, we saw what 2022 brought in their run to the World Series. We saw what the NLCS run was last year. I want you to put on your future mind reading or whatever you want to call it. Looking ahead at this playoffs, what are going to be the keys as to why the team will do well or maybe fall short this season? What do you think are the key areas that they have to get right going into the playoffs this season to have a deep run and hopefully be able to win a World Series?
Yeah. Well, I think I think you can name a couple of things, but I'll say this. I think most importantly, offensively, you need Bryce Harper to be Bryce Harper, and he has been Bryce Harper over the last 6 weeks, which has been great, and the power numbers are starting to come back as well. But even when he wasn't hitting home runs, he was hitting doubles. He was batting .407, I think, during that streak where he went 30 games without hitting a home run. He was hitting .407 with a lot of doubles. So, even when he's down, he seems to be up, and that's what you need. You need Bryce Harper to be Bryce Harper. You need Kyle Schwarber, Trey Turner, and Bryce to be swinging the bat well. And we said this in spring training. Dave Dombrowski said it in spring training. Our offense will be as good as the top of our lineup. And when those guys are going well, we score a ton of runs and good things happen. So first and foremost, I would say that. And then secondly, it's kind of what we just talked about. I think the starting pitching is going to be good. I expect Zach Wheeler every time out to go out and give 5, 6, 7 quality innings. I expect that from Aaron Nola too, and I think you can almost expect that now from Christopher Sanchez. So you add Ranger Suarez into the mix, that's really solid. So it goes then the bullpen. If you get a lead in the postseason, you got to hold on to it. You have to hold on to it because the leads are not going to be 6-0. They're going to be 2-1. They're going to be 3-2 late in the game, and you need those guys to go out and be successful. So if the bullpen can be successful and the bullpen can hold leads, if the offense gets them early and starting pitching gets them early, this team's going to win a lot of games. And that's how they're going to have to do it. That's the formula.
Last one for you, Murph. 9 games left here in the year. You're tied with the Dodgers neck and neck. Really a great season in Phillies history. How much do you consider giving a Bryce a day or two off? Do you count on the bye as the kind of downtime? Do you think they're going to push all 9 games for that number 1 seed, having the tiebreaker over the Dodgers? Or do you expect some of these stars to get a day off or two and get off their feet before the end of the year?
Yeah, I think they're going to push for that number 1 seed. I really do. I don't think anybody takes their foot off the gas until they've locked up the number 1 seed. So that might take you to the game 160 or 161. It could be the final game of the year. If that's the case, they're going to go for it. The Phillies' home record is, I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but it's like 50-25 right now, something like that. And the road record, they're 2 games over 500. Getting home field advantage is crucial for this team to win a World Series. If you have the best record in baseball, you have home field advantage throughout the playoffs and into the World Series. That's what they're going for. It's within reach. They can do it, and they will use that time in between, when the wild card is being played. They'll use that time to give their guys a rest. That's how I think it's going to play out. Rob's holding his cards close to his chest, but I know that home field advantage to him is important, and that's what he is looking for. And it's important for these guys. They get it. They get how a home field advantage in Philadelphia it hits differently, right? We all know that. We've all been around long enough to see what it means to be playing at Citizens Bank Park in the postseason. So that's what they're going to go for. I would not expect any of the guys to take their foot off the pedal until they've got that locked up. The good news is they have the tiebreaker over both the Dodgers and the Brewers, and that might come into play. That's huge. So that's the good news. But yeah, they're gonna keep going until they got it all locked up.
Awesome. Yeah, John Clark, I just did some quick research. He posted this last October 4th, so it might need a little tweaking. But they were 23-11 at Citizens Bank Park in the playoffs with a minimum of 30 games, the best in MLB history. So
that's
it's important.
History.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's why the Trey Turners of the world come here. They see it on TV and they want to play in it. Murph, we appreciate your time. Have a great weekend up there working the series, and hopefully you get to have your champagne toast in the locker room this weekend.
Yeah, we don't need to push it past this weekend, all right? My heart can't take that kind of thing. So, hey, guys, thanks for having me on.